Welcome. This is Some Sports Show. I'm your host, John. Now, today, in episode 1, we're talking about the Super Bowl coming up, DeMar Hamlin, conspiracies, because some of you guys are going a little too far. Talking about the NBA trade deadline with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and we're talking about some things that I feel like we need all to just stop. We'll get more into that in the episode. I want to thank you for being here for episode 1. I'm excited to bring the podcast back. Things are looking great. Make sure to subscribe, follow all the socials for all my personals or the show socials will be in the description down below. So thank you, and let's get to the episode. So with the Super Bowl being this weekend, I'm going to be honest. I am super happy that the Baltimore Ravens are not in it. Now let me explain. Big fan of the Ravens, been a fan my whole life. And I think a lot of us who are part of the other 30 who don't have teams in the Super Bowl should be grateful, and here's why. The Super Bowl party is an experience in itself. You know, it's from the food to the drinks if you're of age and you drink responsibly. You know, it's people coming over who are casual fans, who don't really know about football at all, who are just like, oh, someone's mom or someone's significant other coming in and like, oh, yeah, well, what's going on with that guy? What's going on with this, that, and that, and the third? And it's like, you answer their questions, cool, whatever. But if you're like, for example, the Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl this weekend, you are stressing. Most likely you are, because it's like, it could be one of the greatest days of your life or one of the worst days of your life. And then your mood affects now the people around you. Because if your team wins, everyone's excited. We're losing it. We're drinking. Oh my God. The next 4 or 5 hours is going to be insane. You're not going to work the next day because you're too hungover. You feel like shit. Physically, mentally, it's the greatest day ever. You're like, insert team just won the Super Bowl. Oh my God. But if your team loses, that next day is the rest of the night sucks. The next day, even worse. So as a fan of a team who didn't make the Super Bowl, I'm okay with it. We made the playoffs. Baltimore did way better than I ever thought they would, especially with Lamar Jackson being out. I'm okay with it. I didn't think they were going to beat the Chiefs. I didn't. And then people were like, well, you're a bad fan. You didn't support them. Let's be honest. It wasn't going to happen. Greg Roman was still the offense coordinator. Respect to him, though. He seems like a good guy. Come on the podcast. Let's have a conversation. But his time in Baltimore is definitely up. I can say that 100%. And the way people are also treating him, I'm not a fan of. Because here's my thing. I get, people wanting him to get fired. But you don't normally fire your offensive coordinator in the middle of a season. Especially when, he's been there since 2018, and they've made the playoffs every season except one. Realistically, it's not going to happen. But now that he's gone, I wish him the best wherever he goes next, because I'm not a piece of shit like some of you are. That was really mean. But you know what? It is what it is. Some of you people, how you talk to him, not cool. Not cool at all. He's a fucking guy. This guy's got kids, he's got a wife, he's got a family. He's a person. Relax. Like, I get it. Oh, well, yeah, you couldn't do a better job anyway. Let's be honest. If you're sitting here watching this, there's like a 90% chance you could not do a better job than any person in the NFL right now. Most of you could not, even including myself. I'm just stating facts. And that's okay. But everyone needs to relax. But back to the Super Bowl for a second. I've seen this conversation come up a lot, especially when, Tom Brady just retired, thank fucking God, is that if Patrick Mahomes wins this Sunday, is he now considered the greatest of all time? Quickly, the answer is no. Tom Brady just retired. Tom Brady statistically, in most quarterback categories, is number 1 by a lot. And until Patrick Mahomes is close to that, Super Bowl-wise, passing yards-wise, touchdowns, whatever, wins, etc., he's not. He has the ability to, and he's on his way to get there. Now, by the time he retires, could he be the greatest of all time? Yes. And would that be cool? 100%. Because no one thought this was going to happen for Patrick Mahomes. I understand, same thing for Tom Brady, except, Patrick Mahomes was a first rounder. Tom Brady was 6. We know. We get it. We've heard it all by now. But everyone needs to relax with these, GOAT conversations. It's Tom Brady and then everyone else right now at quarterback. Now, obviously, you can argue with running back. In my opinion, Jerry Rice is number 1 at receiver. Tight end, again, you could argue with that. Could be Gronk. Could be Tony Gonzalez. Could be Kellen Winslow. Could be insert name here and there. Whoever it is, That's your opinion. Quarterback, it's solidified. It's Tom Brady. As much as I hate to say it, because I grew up in New England, I hate Tom Brady as a player. As a person, I don't know. Tom Brady, come on the podcast. I have so many viewers, clearly, that I have value that I can provide to you. And that's me in my closet talking to you about your life. How are you doing, Tom? How are you doing? You okay? You need a hug? You've been going through a lot lately. It's going to be okay, man. Okay. But let's get to the nitty gritty here. Let's get to basketball, because clearly I'm an expert. Actually, no. Excuse me. I just saw my notes. Before I get into basketball, because trade deadline's happening, a lot's been going on. It's been freaking insane. Casual fan. I want to talk about DeMar Hamlin. Now, I'm happy he's out of the hospital. He's recovering great. I'm very happy that he's, at the end of the day, good. Because that shit was not cool. It was scary. It was terrifying. And it could have been a lot worse. But I got an issue. What is the fucking problem with some of you with these DeMar Hamlin conspiracies? Oh, well, especially when he was, like, I think it was for the conference championship or divisional. It was one of those two. I can't remember exactly. He comes back. He's wearing, like, the Pooh Shiesty mask or whatever, and he's, like, covering his face and all that. Everyone's like, that's not DeMar Hamlin. DeMar Hamlin actually died in the hospital. It's a clone. Why in the last, 10 years of the internet, everything is a conspiracy? When I was, in high school, this was not a thing. We had the known conspiracies everyone talked about was 9/11, JFK, the government's tap on our phones, which was true. Let's be honest, Edward Snowden revealed that one. And those big conspiracies that everyone talked about, we all knew. Now, all of a sudden, every single thing is a conspiracy. The ref makes a bad call, NFL's rigged. Someone doesn't show up at a proper time, he really died, and it's actually a clone. This happened, it was the Rothschilds. They're the ones, the masterminds of it all. Oh, this other thing happened? It's fucking lizards. It's aliens. It's Area 51. It's all connected. You're not understanding it. Shut the fuck up. Not everything is a conspiracy. Yet some people will see this and be like, you need to open your eyes, man. You're a sheep. I get it. You're just a sheep. You're being controlled by the left-wing media. I'm just not mentally fucking lost as you are, clearly. Even the people who think JFK Jr. is alive, he has been dead since I was a child. I'm an adult now. I'm almost 30 years old. JFK Jr. is not fucking alive. I'm going on these tangents because DeMar Hamlin, I feel like and this is how I see it. I could be wrong. I'm not DeMar. DeMar, come on the podcast, please. I feel like he's gone out of his way to show his face more, to be like, I'm still here. I'm good. Stop with all these dumb fucking conspiracies of well, he's not showing his face no, so he's clearly dead. But that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Stop it. Leave this guy alone. We almost watched a man die on the field. I couldn't imagine what his friends and family, teammates, coaches, anyone in his circle of life was feeling at the time. Because from a fan perspective, that shit was scary. I was I could watch a man die right now on the field. And the only thing people are like, I don't know, I'm not convinced. 9 minutes. It's you are all so batshit insane. I'm just disappointed. That's all it is. I'm not upset. I'm disappointed. Because you've all let the internet get to your heads. I get it. A lot of us, including myself, are addicted to our phones. I'm so there. But going on 4chan, 8chan, Reddit, all these Facebook group conspiracy things, it's the same thing that a lot of us were taught as kids. You don't believe everything on the internet. Stop talking to strangers. Stop believing. I remember when I was a child, when we still had AIM groups and all that around, right? So me and this kid, who I'm no longer friends with for certain reasons. We were on one of those AIM like message boards. He thought it'd be funny to convince some guy online that he was a girl, whatever, and try to trot him up. He calls him, says some really dumb shit on the phone, and like laughs, and it's obviously he's like, "Oh my god, you fucking weirdo," hangs up. But he didn't realize that the number he gave him was his dad's cell phone number. So his dad came home from work, losing his fucking mind. And I was like, yo, that was your son. And he goes, this is what you get for being on these fucking weird chat boards. Stop talking to strangers. Stop believing this shit on the internet. Your guys are done. So as a kid, I was like, okay, cool. Something happened here. Let's not do this again. So why is it that now this is more of an issue where everyone's like, the NFL's rigged. Everything's rigged. It's all controlled by a group of 4 people sitting in a room full of fire. And it's like, none of this makes sense. I'm just like, I feel like I'm losing my mind because I'm just like, every week it's a new conspiracy. And especially with how the last few weeks have gone for the NFL, it's like, oh, it's rigged. It's all rigged. It's all rigged. It's all fake. It's like, 2 things with that. One, you're dumb. I think you're legitimately dumb if you believe the NFL's rigged. Now, I think there's how I believe it is. I feel like if the refs make a bad call, they ride with their guys or girls or whoever. They ride with their other refs. They're like, we're gonna just deal with this. He fucked up a call. We're gonna just act like it didn't happen. I feel like that's more or less what it is. And it's just like Roger Goodell is like texting someone. He's like, okay, you need to call a flag. Hold on, let me call a flag this exact play, and then we'll make it happen. And then, okay, cool. Just do that. You'll get a $50,000 raise. Have a good day. No, I don't. I feel like you're giving too many people too much credit. People are fucking dumb. Not that many people can keep that big of a secret or orchestrate this well enough. I don't believe it. Maybe I'm the problem here. I don't see it. I'm just over it. I'm over this NFL rigged thing. And also, if the NFL's rigged, why do you year in, year out support it? Why are you financially giving these teams your money? Why are you wasting your time watching these games, whether it's the NFL, NBA, NHL, I don't know why I said it like that, NHL, the Premier League, any soccer league, football league in the world? Why are you wasting your money and time? If it's rigged, do something else. Okay? Stop it. I'm sick and tired of hearing everything's rigged. Everything's not rigged. You're just a big dumb dipshit. Okay? That's all it is. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I don't care. I'm sorry, but I had to get that out of my system. But let's go to the NBA for a second. So, I posted on my TikTok, which I'll post somewhere, screen here, somewhere. Because I have one for my main stuff, talk about football. The other one's just for joshing around. Okay, let me just turn my phone volume down because, excuse me, that was fucking rude. So I asked people on TikTok, and I also reached out to my friends who are diehard NBA fans. I was like, what's going on with Russell Westbrook, not Russell Wilson? Because some of you, I get it, are dumb. Because what I don't understand is how he got that contract from OKC like 5 years ago, I think it is, 4 or 5 years ago. He had 1 season under that contract and then has been traded every single year since. Now, from an outside perspective, again, I'm a casual fan. I watch basketball every so often. Usually when those games start, I go into work because I work overnight. Nonetheless, I was just like, there's got to be something wrong. Because usually in my experience where a player gets traded that often, there's either one of 2 things. It's the player or something else is going on, like management-wise. It's just not working out. So I asked my friend Derek. I'll tag him somewhere on the screen here. You can follow him on Twitter. So I said, what are your thoughts on Russell Westbrook? I posted a TikTok on my other account asking about why Russ got traded every year and what are your thoughts on the situation as a whole. He said he's an all-time great player, but he needs the ball in his hand to be effective. He's been an athletic freak, but with age that goes away. In OKC, they wanted a rebuild, so they moved him. Houston, he requested a trade. When he was with Washington, the Lakers thought he was a missing piece to a chip, and they traded a lot for him. Lakers, just a bad fit. And he's at the age where he needs the right situation and he can still be effective. I hope so. Because from what I remember the last time I was really watching the NBA, like Russ was averaging a triple-double and things were looking great. And then it was just like trade after trade after trade after trade. Now, from what I understand and from what I've seen, that the Utah Jazz are probably going to get a buyout. And he's either, I've seen him been linked to Miami or the Clippers. And both, from what I understand, need some point guard help. And obviously, he could be that missing piece. And it just seems like both for James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russ, since they left OKC, it's been really weird. I mean, most obviously, Kevin Durant's been the most successful because he's won those titles with Golden State. But just from an outside, perspective, I'm not some expert on the NBA. I don't know basketball that well, but just from a sports perspective, like it just feels like Kevin Durant can't be the number one guy on the team. That doesn't seem like it is to me. It seems like he needs to be like number one, but with an asterisk. And what I mean is he needs to be number one, but like there's other number ones as well. So it's like 1A, 1B, 1C kind of a thing. Like how it was in Golden State. I mean, obviously you had him, and then you also had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. So it wasn't just Kevin Durant doing it. And obviously in OKC, it was him, Russ, James Harden for a bit before he ended up going to Houston. And then it was just Russ, I can't talk. It was Katie and Russ. And then Katie's like, all right, I'm going to Golden State. And Russ is like, I guess I'll just go fuck myself. And then after Golden State, he goes to Brooklyn, I believe. I don't think he played anywhere before that, right? No, in between that. I believe he went from Golden State to Brooklyn. And then he brought over James Harden. He got Kyrie. And it was like, okay, how is this not going to work? This is gonna be great. And then it didn't work because then James Harden went to Philly. Kyrie now recently got traded to Dallas. I know Katie's in Phoenix with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And it's just like, you don't normally see that. But where a guy who is this generational talent is being like, I can't do this like myself. I can't be the guy and then have other great role players or great second, third guys. I need to be surrounded by greatness. And it seems like with Phoenix, that's it. I know a lot of people are also saying that Phoenix gave up a lot to get KD, and now their depth is hurt because defensively, they're not that good anymore. Now they lost Mikal Bridges. I've also seen where it's like, now, how's the bench going to be now? Because you gave up a lot for KD and TJ Warren. He's also included in the trade. And just I don't know. I think this is one of those things where it's like you're going all in and you're just fucking throwing something at the wall and hope it sticks. Because at least in like NFL wise, because that's where I work in, that you don't normally see these kind of trades where it's like one big star and then it's like a lot of other big stars involved. Now, I guess the best example recently was Russell Wilson getting traded from Seattle to Denver, where they gave up Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and I can never remember the other guy's name, but he was like a D tackle, I believe. So I'm sorry to you. And then obviously a bunch of first round draft picks and all that. It hasn't really worked out for Drew Lock. I mean, because he's been backing up Geno, and Geno had an absolute year this year, which we'll get into. Noah Fant, who had a pretty decent year, better than I expected. And Russell Wilson played absolutely hot garbage for the fucking Denver Broncos, which I've seen reports that people don't really necessarily believe it was Nathaniel Hackett's fault, that it was more Russ's fault. And if it's true that he was still using cadences and like all types of different stuff that's still stuck in Seattle, then yeah, obviously what the fuck are you doing? But that whole Denver situation is very interesting. I'll get to that in a minute. But basketball is also so strange, like in a good way, because you don't normally see like insane trades. At least from what I've seen in sports, like the NBA is always just like the trade deadline is always insane, where it's like big name star getting traded to these random teams. I'm just like even last night, I was up just working on the podcast, getting it ready to go because I'm bringing it back. and I'm in the Midwest, so 12:30 my time. I'm looking at my phone, and my phone's going off. I'm like, why? It's like early morning, middle of the night. What are we doing? And it's like, oh, Kevin Durant got traded. It's like, he's getting traded. Who's still working this late? I mean, I guess you're in the NBA. You work late, but like, it's like fucking 12:30 in the morning. You're still in the office. You're still making moves. My God. I mean, hey, it worked out because now KD is playing with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So best of luck to him. And then this maybe it's just me, but that definitely feels like a win, or like it's like championship or bust for them. Essentially, it's like you got to the conference finals a couple years ago. You were this close to winning an NBA finals, and you didn't. So now you bring KD, and it's like, well, you don't have a choice now. It's like win or this is for nothing. But again, I could be wrong. That's just how I see it. But nonetheless, but hey. I wish the best for Russ, for KD, for James Harden, hey, if you're in the NBA, you did something that 99% of people can never do, which if you're a professional athlete in general, whether you play in the NBA, in the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, you play in the Premier League, even if you're on one of these like lower tier leagues, but if you get paid to be an athlete, I give you all the credit in the world because that's like most kids' dreams. I knew when I got a little older, not for me, got a little fat too quick, and I was like, I'm not athletic, I'm not tall enough, I'm not made for this. So I will do what the rest of us in the world will do. I will sit in a room with a mic that I bought on the internet, with a webcam I bought on the internet, spouting my opinions that some of you may find dumb on the internet, and hopefully praying to God that I'm consistent enough and good enough to where people want me to do this as a job. And then I'll have NFL players hopefully on, and we can be best friends, and then I can live through them. Because I'm not athletically enough to do that. I mean, would I take a super soldier serum if available? 1,000%. I would do a lot to be good at sports. And I just want to be taller. I'm like 5'9". I've always every time I've created a player in a basketball game, hockey, any sports game that you can create a player, my character's always 6 foot with a goatee. I don't know why. I don't know where that started. That's just always where I've wanted to be. My facial hair isn't great. I need to put some real fucking effort into it because it's like you can kind of say it a bit. But like here it's like not great. It's not great in the chin area. And even on the sides, it's like not like consistent. It's like this side's a little soft, a little light. And you go to this side, it's just like it just doesn't make sense. I can't figure this out, the side thing with the camera yet, but give me time. But like I understand my faults, so I need to really work on my strengths, and that's sitting alone, talking to my camera for time on time again, and hopefully I get enough popularity where I can make $1 off of this, because that's a W. If I can make a single dollar off of talking to myself, I'm all for it. And also, the goal for this podcast too is just to have good conversations, because I apologize. I'm like readjusting myself this entire time because I hate the way I look. Nonetheless, the point of this show is we're not talking about just male sports. We're talking about female sports. We're talking about women's sports. We're talking about sports in general, no matter who is playing, gender-wise, sexuality, whatever. I want to have a conversation about all types of sports, whether you play, whether you are like on the media side, whether you are like front office-wise, whatever you do involving the world of sports, I want to have those conversations. Because sports are supposed to be fun. Like, I want to have fun conversations. Like, I understand it's a business, it's about making money, but also it's such a rare and difficult opportunity to even get to that point. Like, even if you were there for a year, in my eyes, you are successful, because that is like hitting the fucking lottery. Like, you worked your ass off to get to that point. That's amazing. Even if you made it to college, you played semi-pro, you played overseas, in whatever sport, you made it to the Olympics, whatever. To me, you are successful. and you will always be successful because that is you sacrifice a lot. And that's not me just like some dick riding. It's just like it's impressive, and we need to actually acknowledge that. And I want to have conversations with people who play basketball, people who play cricket, soccer, lacrosse, weird sports, like sports that they only show like once a year on like ESPN 8 The Ocho or whatever. Like I just want to talk about anything because it's all super interesting, and I like not knowing a lot because that means there's a window of opportunity to learn, and I'm all for that. But before I go, I have one final thing I want to talk about, and I've talked about this before on the internet because I have strong opinions about all this. Roll my sleeves up for this because it's getting serious right now. It's boxing. Now, here's the thing. I have a great respect for boxing. I grew up watching boxing. Me and my father would watch it on TV when it was on ESPN all the time, still is, Showtime, etc. But where boxing, and again, casual fan right now. I used to be a bigger fan when I was younger. I digressed into a casual fan. But boxing is in a weird place right now, and I kind of don't like it. Mainly because of this influencer boxing that we've been seeing for the last, 4 or 5 years now it's been. Obviously, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and like KSI are like the head of that right now. Obviously, there's the different influencer boxing events. I think there's Misfit boxing is the thing. And there's like Creator Clash, I believe. And those are fine. Cool, I'm all for that. But we don't need to then see people who are out of their prime in the world of boxing continue to fight. Now, again, I can't fight for shit. I will try my best. I got some anger issues, so like fighting, okay, you want to do that, But I just, as a fan of like combat sports in general, seeing someone who is in their 50s still trying to fight, it's like, it's kind of sad to see, and it's disappointing. I'm referring to Jorge Masvidal's boxing event that's coming up April 1st. It's like Game Bred Boxing, I believe it's called, where the main event is Anthony Pettis versus Roy Jones Jr. Why? Why is Roy Jones Jr. still fighting? I mean, not too long ago, I think, a year or two ago, we had to watch Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson in an exhibition fight. Now, obviously, that was 100% for money, and this definitely feels like it's a money play again, which is fine. I get it. Get your fucking money, get your bag. But don't put yourself through this. I think we all can do better than having to sit there and watch someone struggle to fight. It's not like it was 20 years ago. Like, even 10 years ago. It's like, don't do this. It's like, we don't need to see this. Like, I get it. Even with Floyd Mayweather, where he randomly, he's like, oh, I'm retired, and then unretires, to then retire again, and then do all these, like, random exhibition fights all over the world. Like, I get it. It's a money play. I understand. But I feel like, in a way, and again, this is just an outsider perspective, I feel like you're just hurting the credibility of boxing when you're kind of just making it you're just kind of using it as a joke, just for money. Because there's people in the sport, both on any side, male, female, non-binary, any gender, sexuality, whatever, that take boxing dead fucking serious. Like, this is their life. And then people come in out of nowhere and then can just like skip the line because they're famous or whatever the case, make a shit ton of money and then leave and just pretty much just like use the sport as like some gimmick. It's like, it's kind of fucked up. And yes, I understand celebrity boxing's been a thing forever. It's not some new concept. I understand. But like, that's not really relevant like that anymore. When I was a kid, yeah, you see all these like former child stars, former A-list, B-list, C-list stars, like trying to use celebrity boxing as a way to like revitalize their career. But now it's more of just like these MMA and boxing, like former boxing people now, fighters or whatever. I guess we're trying to just stay relevant in some way, or just like, it feels like there's like some, and again, I could be wrong. This is just, again, how I see it. So you can yell at me in the comments. It just feels like they're also lost now, because it's like, well, what do I do in this age of social media where it's like, all I know is boxing. This is all I know. So I guess in a sense, yeah, that's just the easiest route. You're like, well, this is what I've been doing. I know how to do this well. Why not just do it? But we're in an age of like, bro, CTE is real. CTE is so real. Don't put yourself through this. Like, I get it. If it's a money thing, you need money or you just want more money, I get it. But you're also putting yourself at risk just physically when you don't need to. Because for sure, this could just be an exhibition fight and it's whatever. But you could take the wrong fucking shot and now your life is fucking ruined. Same thing with like MMA. It's like all these MMA fighters are trying to call out Jake Paul, which, can we stop? Stop calling out Jake Paul. It's not going to happen. He's not going to fight you guys. He's only going to fight people that will draw some like main event card, which apparently right now is Tommy Fury, which apparently from what I've seen, he's ducked out of 2 like press conferences, which stop giving the guy a chance. At this point, I don't know. At this point, I don't know what else you're doing. I don't really get it. And I think we're almost at the end of this boxing thing with Jake Paul because he's going into MMA now. He joined the PFL and there's like super fight pay-per-view league that they got going on, which apparently fighters will get like 50% of the pay. This whole thing with Jake Paul and the whole fighter thing, it feels disingenuous to me. I could be wrong. Jake Paul, come on the podcast. It just, something just feels off to me about all this. And I'm not some like big Jake Paul hater. No, am I a fan of his previous content that he was posting before all this boxing stuff? No. It was very like made for kids, and it's like I don't like the vlog thing and this like going out of your way to do this all this crazy shit anymore. It's like it's been played out for me for a long time, and I just thought it was corny as fuck. But again, that's just my opinion. That's not saying that's what it is, but that's just how I see it. Obviously, he's found a lane fighting. And it's just like seeing all these like dudes like Luke Rockhold or Mike. Who was it recently? It was like someone on MMA fighting was like taking their shirt. Oh, is it Mike Perry? Yeah. Where he's calling out Jake Paul. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, you just guys look dumb. Like, you're just wasting your time. Like, I get it. You're trying to get a bag. I get it. Because what? Like, even if you fought Jake Paul, it's not really a win-win for you. Because you beat him, everyone's going to be like, okay, you're a trained fighter who's been doing this for over a decade. You beat a guy who's doing it for 4 years. Congratulations. But if you lose, regardless if it's an exhibition or not, it's like you got knocked out by a fucking guy who creates videos on the internet. It's like there's no winning in this. It's a lose-lose. It's like you want this all to stop. Here's how. There's something you don't like, right? And you want to stop because it's like, oh, this is stupid or it's dumb. Stop supporting it. Block these people. Stop supporting it. If you see a post about it, you keep scrolling. You do not acknowledge it. Because once we acknowledge it, then it becomes a problem. And then it's like, then you're just feeding into the cycle. That's all it is. For example, I don't like talking about Lamar Jackson's contract anymore. Why? Because how many times can we all say the same 3 things? There's no new points. There's no new conversation about Lamar's contract. It's the same thing. And then people add on to the wide receiver conversation, which again, no new points are being made about the situation. And also all these narratives that people are throwing out there, where are you getting them from? I'd love to know, because it's all just made up out of thin air. Because Lamar Jackson won't talk about it because, at least how I see it, again, I'm not speaking for Lamar, I'm speaking as a fan, that he'd rather keep this shit private, just business-wise, handle it one-on-one, and deal with it then. Everyone else is just making some shit up. And it's like, it's old. And I sound like I'm angry. I'm just annoyed because I hear it since the moment that Lamar came out saying, we have this date to agree to a contract. If not, we'll talk about it after the season. I was like, cool, I can go with that. Because I want Lamar to stay in Baltimore for as long as possible. Every week for this entire NFL season, anytime something with Baltimore comes up, it's his contract. Shut up. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like, at this point, I'm just like begging Lamar, please, stay or leave. Pick one, please. I'm tired of hearing this conversation. Now, I want Lamar to stay. I'm a diehard Ravens fan. I want Lamar as a quarterback. I want him to get paid properly. And I'm just tired of this conversation. I'm just tired of it. Like, Lamar, are you also tired of this conversation? Yes. Look at him. He's also tired. Lamar, come on the podcast. I saw my bobblehead, please. I bought a bobblehead of Lamar. because he's also agreeing. His head only goes up and down because he also agrees that it's an old fucking conversation and there's nothing more to be said. It's just a slow media season. So anytime, because nothing really happens a lot with Baltimore. It just doesn't. We're not a team that, like, there's always something to talk about. There's not a constant amount of stars or some big name things happening. Like, Baltimore's always been, like, low-key, middle of the pack for a while. And Lamar came, and it was just, like, superstar status. Now everyone's talking about Baltimore. It's like, just, I hate it. I don't like being popular. Like, it just, I was cool being, like, the cool kid. Just like, yeah, we're cool, man. Like, we do all right for ourselves. But now we got superstar. Everyone's like, wow, you guys are so cool. Or just getting criticized nonstop. It's like, please just leave us alone. I just want to be left alone, please. But those are my thoughts. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hey, if you've made it this far, let me know, because this is fantastic. So the plan for episodes, okay, is as of right now, every Wednesday. That's the plan. So usually the plan is I record these and then upload them the same day, because I feel like if I wait a day, obviously new things could happen when I could just either upload videos on TikTok or shorts on YouTube and just kind of fill in throughout the day with that. So you get what I'm saying? Like I want to, because I want to just do more content besides just a 35, 45 minute, hour long podcast. There's also be daily content coming as well, more short form, and this will be the long form daily thing, unless I can get multiple people to come on a week. That'd be great. But for right now, obviously, it's still in the infancy of all this. It's going to be once a week, and then the daily content on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that. So, again, thank you for made it this far. I appreciate it. This has been Some Sports Show. I'm John, and I will see you next week. Now, let me know before I go, if you made it this point, let me know who you got in the comments. Eagles, Chiefs. I'm going Eagles. I want to see Jalen Hurts win Super Bowl, especially all the narratives that, can Jalen Hurts be a quarterback for the Eagles? Can he be the future of the Eagles? And now he's helped bring this team to a fucking Super Bowl. Let's go, Eagles. I'm hammering Eagles money line. Let's make it happen. I will see you all next week. Make sure at the end of this, also in the description down below, all of my socials, personal, further show, follow, support. I love you. I'll kiss you with permission. Michael O'Prore, I love you with permission. And I'll see you all next time.